I saw the king eat a man. I saw it with my own eyes. They say fear makes you freeze, but I didn't freeze. I ran. I ran so fast my feet barely touched the ground. But no matter how far I got, I could still hear the screams. King Gondor was once a great ruler. He was strong, wise, and beloved by his people. My grandfather told stories of how he led warriors into battle and how the land flourished under his reign. But something changed. Some say it was power. Others say he went into the deep forest alone and came back different. The hunters say he walked too far, past the rivers and the hills, into the coastlands where spirits have no faces. At first, it was just fear. More guards, more rows, more silence. The king no longer laughed. His eyes looked empty. Then people started disappearing. At first, it was criminals, thieves, traitors. No one questioned it. But then it was villagers, hunters, servants, even palace guards. Some said they were taken to the dungeons. Some said they were exiled. Others whispered darker things. I never believed the worst things. Not until I saw it myself. I was a servant boy, barely 15. That night, I was sent to clean the great hall after a feast. The room was dim, lit only by the fire. The smell of roasted meat was thick in the air, but something was wrong. It wasn't goat. It wasn't cow. Then I saw him. King Gondor, sitting at the long wooden table. His hands were red, his mouth moving as he chewed. In front of him lay a body. Not a goat. Not a cow. A man. His chest was split open. His ribs cracked apart. His skin darkened from the fire. I felt sick. My legs locked, my breath stuck in my throat. I stepped back slowly. Carefully. But the floor creaked beneath my foot. The chewing stopped. The king's head snapped up. His eyes found mine. And he smiled. Run, boy, he said, licking the blood from his fingers. Run fast. I don't remember running out of the palace. I don't remember my feet hitting the ground or how I made it to the village. But when I reached the elders, I was shaking. My words tumbled out of me like stones in a river. At first, they did not believe me. Then others began to speak, soldiers who had seen bones in the palace fires, cooks who had noticed missing servants, hunters who had followed strange tracks leading back to the palace. The whispers spread like fire. The people had feared King Gondor, but now they knew the truth. And there are things worse than death. By sunrise, the whole kingdom had gathered. Warriors, hunters, even old men with weak hands but strong hearts. The drummers beat the war rhythm. The women sang the songs of battle. And we marched. The palace was not ready. The king's guards fought, but their hands trembled. Their eyes darted to the shadows. They, too, had seen the bones in the fires. They, too, had heard the screams. One by one, they dropped their spears and fled. The great wooden gates were forced open. The people flooded inside, torches in hand, voices rising like a storm. King Gondor stood in the middle of his throne room, watching us come. He did not beg. He did not run. He only smiled. You think you've won, he said, his voice calm. The hunger does not die with me. The elders did not listen. They tied him in chains, dragged him to the village square, and built a fire taller than a man. He did not scream as the flames rose around him. He only laughed. The kingdom was never the same after that. For years, people feared the night. Mothers whispered warnings to their children. The hunters spoke of strange movements in the deep forest. But the land healed. The people rebuilt. A new king was chosen, one who ruled with kindness. As for me, I grew old. I had children. grandchildren. But some nights, when the wind howls through the trees, I still hear the laughter. And I wonder if the hunger truly died.